You won't believe what this man was caught doing with a corpse. 46-year-old Randall Bird was caught doing inappropriate things to a corpse while he was working his shift as a security guard at the Banner University Medical Center in Phoenix. Randall's job was to bring deceased bodies to the hospital's morgue and slip them into the freezer. But during his shift, coworkers walked in on him and caught Randall inside the freezer with his zipper down, his uniform looking messy, and a body bag open. He was seen almost on top of the 79-year-old deceased woman, and when the workers walked in, he quickly tried to cover the body. The workers said that Randall looked so sweaty and nervous when they caught him, and his excuse was that he had a medical emergency and he almost passed out. His co-workers did not believe a single word and reported the incident. When Randall was interviewed by police a few days later, he basically just said the same story and said that he couldn't remember much of what happened. But not long after, investigators found his DNA on the woman's body, which proves that Randall was in fact doing what we all assumed. He was arrested and now faces multiple charges.
Scary facts you wish you never knew.
Scariest mythical creatures in the world. From Japan. Tick tick. From Puerto Rico. Chupacabra. From the ocean. Cthulhu. From Arizona. Skinwalker. From the ocean. Mermaid. From Canada. Wendigo.
Here's some things we were taught growing up that just aren't true. Piranhas, in fact, will not just gobble you up the second you step into the same water as them. They only go after, like, dead things or if you have an open wound. In fact, there have been a total of 0 recorded deaths via piranha. Dogs' mouths are not cleaner than humans' mouths. I feel like this is common sense. Have you seen the shit that dogs eat? A simple Google search will tell you that this isn't true. Lie detectors don't detect lies. They detect if you're stressed, which could mean you might be lying, but it's not a real indication. It's not accurate at all. Fish have memories. Pretty good ones too. They can remember faces and sounds and other fish for up to months at a time, which is better than most of you guys. There was this one study where a catfish was actually able to remember the sound of a human announcing like it's food time up to 5 years after it first heard it. Being cold is not going to increase your likelihood of being sick, okay? Humans made this correlation because when it's cold outside, we tend to go inside, huddle up all together with other humans where more germs can spread around.
These facts are guaranteed to blow your mind. Humans are the only animals on Earth that like spicy food. Potato chips are responsible for the most weight gain out of any other food. The average termite can live over 100 years. By chewing gum after a meal, it reduces your chance of heartburn. Dogs can sniff.
Disturbing facts that will ruin your day. Firstly, you know these vacuum toilets that are most commonly used on planes and cruise ships? Well, there have been many reports of them sucking the rectum out of people when they flush. Next, this is just disappointing. 1 in 4 Americans actually believe that the sun rotates around the earth. Now, studies show that the average person will wait 5 months of their lifetime for red lights to turn green. You know when you're watching a movie or TV show and you hear these laugh tracks in the background? Well, most of them were recorded in the 50s, so you're hearing dead people laugh. This will ruin your childhood. The Red Power Ranger, Ricardo Medina, pleaded guilty to killing his roommate with a sword. Finally, you are now closer to death than you were when you started this video.
How rare is your body? Let's find out. About 80% of people have stretch marks, and tons of different things can cause these, like pregnancy, weight gain, growth spurts, weightlifting, etc. Anything that stretches the skin. And new stretch marks usually start out as bright red, but will fade to a light pink or white over time. Only 5% of adults have never had chickenpox. Most people who have had chickenpox will be immune to chickenpox for the rest of their life. However, it remains inactive in nerve tissues and can reactivate later in life, causing shingles. Only about 2% of people have something called aphantasia, and this is a phenomenon where you're not able to visualize imagery in your head. And this is a little example where if you're asked to visualize a red square and you close your eyes and think, what do you see? A red square, slightly, or do you see nothing? Only 3% of people have something called scoliosis, which is just an unnatural curve in your spine, and doctors still don't know what causes the main type of scoliosis.
The most uncomfortable products ever designed. Firstly, this Cinderella car seat was designed to make children quieter in the car, and it looks normal when there's a small child in it. But as they get older, you have to adjust the headrest. And to do that, it ends up stretching her neck like this. This Minion shampoo bottle looks like it would be good for kids. But for the strawberry scented one, they decided to make it bright red. So it looks like blood is coming out of his eyes. Next, a Spider-Man tissue box sounds like a good idea, and we all know the main Spider-Man pose. But whoever decided to put that on a Kleenex box clearly didn't think it through, because it looks like you're pulling tissues out of Spider-Man's butt. Lastly, in the children's hospital, they tried making a pathway that looks like a red ribbon. But instead, it looks like a path left by someone dragging a bloody body.
Disney facts that you didn't know. Over 80% of the plants in Tomorrowland are edible, and it used to be 100% of the plants were. There's kale, artichokes, lemons, and a lot of different fruits and vegetables, and even herbs and spices. You are never more than 30 steps away from a trash can at any point in any Disney park. The American flags that Disney flies are fake. A lot of them are missing a star or a stripe, so they don't have to follow the codes of flying at half-mast and taking them down. A one-day ticket to Disneyland in 1955 cost $1. But on top of that, rides did have a fee of about 25 to 35 cents. There is no gum sold inside any Disney parks in order to help keep the parks clean. Since Disney World opened, adults have lost over 1.6 million pairs of glasses. And on top of that, every year they find over 6,000 cell phones and 3,500 cameras.
Something that we have not talked about yet is mermaids. Are they real? Is there any proof of them? Let me tell you. While digging deep on the internet, I found this following video that I'm about to show you. Now it's very busy and loud, so you need to focus to see what I'm trying to show you. As you can see, we could very clearly see a hand of a person that's attached at the knuckles, violently fighting to get out of the net that they were caught in. You don't just catch humans in the water. Now look at this hand. This is what scientists think the hands of mermaids look like. And now I'm going to show you the hand from the video, and you can see that they're the same. Not to mention, there are a lot of pictures of dried up mermaid skeleton that are unexplained. Now, what we technically think mermaids are beautiful women and men who swim around all day and sound magical and just safe, happy creatures. But that's not what people think it is. They're thought to look weird, alien-like. And when they make sounds, they screech, they don't sing. They're scaly all over, not just their tail. And they're just overall harsh, evil creatures. I personally believe they exist because 70% of the sea is undiscovered. So how do we think we know they don't? Tell me what you think.
We've made it to part 80 of some of the creepiest submechanophobia things I've ever seen in my life. Why do they keep doing things like this? This is the Awakening statue, and it's in Maryland. This is how big it is for scale, just in case you were wondering. It used to be at this little park area until they moved it to the beach, really close to the water. You can go down there and touch it and visit with it, but when it floods, because that place is pretty common for flooding, it is completely, almost completely underwater, and it looks like this gigantic giant is sprouting from the earth. No. Dang, for free? But yeah, that's what it looks like where it is now, and the water, whenever the tide gets really high and it floods a little bit, this thing goes from like normal scary to absolutely get me the heck out of here. I hate this. No. That's what it looks like. Would you be able to go anywhere near that thing when it's flooded or when it's not flooded or any way that it is? I would not be able to even look at it from far away. I would cry. It is made from aluminum, which makes it a little less scary. I can just look at it like a big soup can.
Why is no one talking about this mannequin and its creepy backstory? This is La Pascolita. The mannequin has been in the window of this Mexican bridal shop since the 1930s. Now look, mannequins weren't even that detailed back then. Customers noticed that you could see fingernails, eyebrow hairs, and veins on the mannequin. By the way, we're making a Reese's milkshake. Out of all three of these flavor ice creams, which one has to go? Vanilla, chocolate, or strawberry? Comment down below, I want to see if y'all got good taste or not. Now back to the story. Yo, this is where it gets crazy. The owner of the shop had a daughter named Pascuala, and in the 1930s, she was going to get married. So of course, being the owner of a bridal shop, the owner went all out for her daughter, buying her the best dress and setting up everything. Sadly, a scorpion had gotten the daughter's dress, and she sadly didn't survive the sting. People say the exact next day, a mannequin appeared at the front of the shop, and she looked strangely similar to the daughter. Even the dress looked similar. Aw, snap. Look at that. Woo, sweet baby diabetes. They believe the owner did not want to lose her daughter, so she dipped her in wax to preserve her forever. Do you think this is the shop owner's daughter? And make sure to hit that follow, because tomorrow's story is insane compared to this one.
Scariest urban legends from every US state. This shows some of the most popular urban legends from every single state across the USA. And as you've probably guessed, in this series we're going through all of them, from the most normal ones to the really dark, disturbing ones. So let's kick off part 2. Oh, this is creepy. So the legend goes, a long time ago in New York, in a children's hospital. Children would be in this hospital, and at night, obviously, they'd basically just be left alone. The legend was about someone called Cropsy. Cropsy has a hook for a hand and lurks around at night in the children's hospital. He stalked and unalived these people who he found walking in the corridors at night. Apparently everybody who goes to camp in upstate New York knows about this legend, so let me know if that's true. This is where things get even more disturbing. A documentary was posted which basically confirmed this was real. Convicted killer and kidnapper Andrew Rand. That's him there in the middle, and it was real. A follow button, it's going to get crazy, and let me know which state you're from.
Facts that will blow your mind. Humans are the only animals that enjoy spicy foods. Potato chips cause more weight gain than any other food. It's impossible to hum while you hold your nose. The least interesting day in history was April 11, 1954. Aldous Huxley and C.S. Lewis died on the same day as JFK. Bigger forks lead you to eat less. The longest living insect is the termite. Chewing gum after a meal reduces heartburn. Dogs can smell cancer. Bees can detect bombs. Follow and comment below which fact blew your mind.
Around the world. Today we'll be looking at something called the Yaramayahu of Indigenous Australian mythology. The Yaramayahu are described to be small frog-like humanoids that have reddish skin. They sit up in the trees and wait for somebody to walk by. They'll jump down and consume the victim's blood like a vampire, and then after consume the entire victim and go to sleep. They will then regurgitate the victim and repeat the process of consuming them. Eventually the victim will turn into a Yaramayahu. So if you're walking around in Australia, make sure you keep your eyes up on the trees.
Let's talk about another one of the most interesting and terrifying Japanese urban legends, Tsukima Onna, or the Girl in the Gap. If you've ever been alone in a room and still felt like something was watching you, it was probably Tsukima Onna. This Japanese spirit is said to live between the gaps of physical objects, for example underneath furniture and in between the cracks of open doors. Basically anywhere that there's a little bit of space. Some people say this is also a metaphor for her living between two worlds, the human world and the spirit world. It is best to avoid interacting with her if you think that she's hiding in your room. Because if you lock eyes with her, she will ask you if you want to play a game of hide and seek, and if you lose the game, she will drag you back down to hell with her. Unfortunately, the only way to get rid of her is to beat her at her own game. Otherwise, you will always feel as if she's watching you for the rest of your life. Press share copy link, follow for more, and comment what country I should do next.
Disturbing facts you wish you never knew. You have tiny skin mites that come out at night and do the thing on your face. A 10-second kiss on the lips can pass on 80 million bacteria, some unknown to scientists. Good thing you don't have to worry about that. Certain kinds of tumor called teratoma can cause your body to grow teeth and hair around it. When Eskimo babies have colds, their mother sucks the snot out of their nose with their mouth. Yummy. People who stay up at night are more likely to become psychopaths compared to those who sleep early. So please go to sleep now.
Question that has long plagued police is, what do we make of the McGrady tapes? Back in like 2001, at a Blockbuster in McGrady, North Carolina, a car drove by in the parking lot and just dropped a tape outside of the building. So employees saw that and they went outside to get the tape and they were like, who would drop a tape off like that? Until they looked at it and they noticed something was wrong. This was the tape that was recovered from the parking lot and it was completely unlabeled. According to the story, they took it to the back room where they were able to play it back, and this was the footage they found. It is a 40-minute video of a person's face looking under what looks like a bathroom stall, and it's completely silent, like straight uncut 40 minutes of this and the cameraman just breathing heavily while they videotape this. Management turned the tape over to police, and the strangest part is that a search canine signaled that the tape had traces of human decomp on it. To this day, whoever's behind the McGrady tape is a mystery.
Scariest things caught on camera. What do you think?
If you fast out, breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth. Do it with me, ready? Just Just breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth, man, okay? We're good, man. I appreciate it. Breaths, deep breaths. Started firing. I mean, were you doing this? I was just firing, sir. Or were you firing at her? I was just firing. Did it hit her? I think so. Okay. I don't know. Did she fall to the ground? She fell. I just kept firing. And I rolled up and then guys was coming and I just kept okay.
Horror movie facts that will haunt your nightmares. Part 2. Coraline. The soundtrack in the movie is a French children choir singing. Surprisingly, they aren't actually singing in French. They're singing in a completely made-up language. If you look on the wall of the dining room in the other mother's home, you'll see 3 portraits of silhouettes. These likely represent the 3 ghost children that appear later in the film. In the normal world, the boy is sad and has dropped his ice cream. But in the other world, he's happy and his ice cream is perfect. On the back of the chair above where Coraline's doll sits features a small flower-shaped pattern. And this flower is almost exactly like the one on the back of Jack Torrance's chair in The Shining. The Welcome Home cake features a double loop on the O. And according to graphology, a double loop on the lowercase o means that the person who wrote it is not telling the truth. But on the cake, there is actually only one double loop, meaning that Coraline is welcome, but she is not home.
Breaking news, there's been a major update on the unaliving of Tofia Chu's brother, as authorities have now revealed exactly what happened that day, and trigger warning, it is very hard to listen to. This is the vehicle Tofia, her brother, and her mom were in. They were parked in a church parking lot. They're not sure if they were sleeping or just parked there, but around 3 or 4 a.m., a suspect walked up to the vehicle. They don't know if this was targeted or if he was just trying to take the car. He ended up pewing her brother and her mom and walked around to the passenger side of the vehicle and tried to pull out Tofia, who was able to get away. The suspect then got in the vehicle and started fleeing with her brother, who was unalived, and her mom, who was injured in the backseat, both still in the vehicle, and then he ended up crashing into a black Jeep that you see here. The driver of the Jeep then got into a confrontation with the suspect, and a security guard nearby heard the commotion, walked over, things escalated, and the suspect was fatally pewed. Tofia's mother was then rushed to the hospital and is believed to be in stable condition, but unfortunately her brother did not make it, and neither did the suspect. Tofia is also physically okay, but obviously very hurt from all of this. Rest in peace to her poor brother, and prayers to her mother, and as any new information comes out, I'll keep you guys updated.
This is one case that still haunts me. The story of the disappearance of Jason Jolkowski is one of the weirdest things that you'll ever read about, and it's haunting because to this day, this mystery has never been solved. So let's take a look at it. So this is Jason Jolkowski. He was born in 1981 and lived in Omaha, Nebraska all his life. And this story takes place in 2001. So on Wednesday, June 13th, 2001, Jason was called into work early. So initially, Jason planned on walking to his job, which was 4 miles away, due to the fact that his car was in a repair shop that day. But he eventually made plans for a friend to meet him at a high school that was nearby. So this high school, Benson High School in Omaha, Nebraska, was only half a mile from Jason's house. Literally an 8-block walk. And that's where his friend was supposed to meet him. So just take a look at this photo. This is the exact route that Jason was going to take to the high school. It's only a 10-minute walk. And keep in mind, he was about to make this walk in the middle of the morning in broad daylight. In a city like Omaha, Nebraska, where crimes like disappearances and murders don't really happen all that frequently. So at 10:45 a.m. that morning, a neighbor saw Jason helping his younger brother with the trash outside of his home. And at some point right after that, he left to go on this walk to go meet his friend. And during this walk, Jason vanished off the face of the earth. So to this day, no trace of Jason has ever been found. There were no remains ever recovered. Nobody has seen anybody that's ever looked like Jason. Nobody reported seeing somebody being abducted on the day that he went missing. Nobody even reported seeing anything out of the ordinary. It's as if he simply vanished literally into thin air. They even checked the security camera footage from the school that he was supposed to be walking to that day, and the security camera videos showed that Jason never arrived. It was somewhere on that half-a-mile walk when he vanished. Now, Jason's parents have suggested that they believe he may have been abducted and killed, but with no body ever having been found, that theory is just really hard to prove. And yeah, it's been over 20 years since this happened, and no trace of Jason has ever been found. That's why it's a case that will haunt me. I mean, it's just scary to think that you can be making a half-a-mile walk in the middle of the day, in the middle of your city, and go missing, and no one will ever even find a piece of your clothing.